From watching Tommy Cleary was out there walking around, does he have any more insight into how bad his cork is?
Well, insight is it's not a cork, it's a slight hammy, so it's on the sort of lesser side of being serious. So conservative approach, like I said, it's minor, but he won't play this week. We don't have any doubt that he'll be available for our game straight after that with the break that we've been given. So disappointing for him, disappointing for us, but yeah, he won't play.
So it wasn't too serious, obviously. He went on the bike for a bit and then came back on. Did he injure it in the initial instance, or was it when he went back on afterwards?
To be honest, he's never done a soft tissue injury that he can recall, so he hasn't really got a great take on it, to be fair. He did feel something in a marking contest that resembled cramp, and again, most players do sort of put these things down a cramp or even a corky. So once we decided to scan that hamstring, you're always going to find something. So, and that's where we've been left.
So he'll be right for the first final then. How do you shuffle your backline? What would you like to do there?
Well, it's early in the week. We've only just found out the result of that. So look, we think we've got enough guys that have now been able to put a really good block together. We've been fortunate to get sort of 4 or 5 games into the guys that aren't playing. So whether it's a like for like or whether we go and reshuffle things, we'll take a bit of a look. But we've got obviously Leanett, Mays, Sutcliffe, Bergman, Garner. We've got a few guys there that we're comfortable to play. And I think it only just grows our squad going into what will be a really important month.
Going into the final round, I know you resisted the temptation to rest players as other clubs have. Is that a consideration this weekend?
Well, not really. I think the gaps that we've been given and the breaks, I think we've had a pretty decent month in terms of training blocks and time off and days between games. And with this one being a 9-day break and then potentially going into maybe a 10 or 11-day break off the back of this, we just don't see the need. To the point where we've pushed guys to play at the lower level in these scratch matches that we've been able to organise to make sure they're ready to play rather than rested. Shortened games, passages of play where we're dominant and have lots of time in possession. There's a whole range of different things that indicate we don't need to rest anyone right now.
Is it more important to settle in your lineup, perhaps?
I think so. Settle, create synergy, more connection, pointy end. So things will start to get tight and serious, but most importantly, we have enough guys there that if things do go wrong or we do have some injury worries, that we've got enough there that's in form and conditioned to play.
Connor Rosie obviously came from the ground late with a full body cramp.
Yeah.
Like Ollie Wines was pointing and laughing at one point. He's out today, no dramas with him?
No issue. We're really happy with the way he's been able to find some more of the ball. Yeah. Other than that, clean bill of health.
That's good. Charlie's was a heavy focus. His workload just looks like it's getting bigger and bigger as a forward focus. How crucial is he going forward for you?
Yeah, I think it probably does appear that way. I think that the teams have been able to put enormous amount of time into him and we've directed a lot of ball through him, but I think on closer look, the last 3 weeks there's been sort of more options. We've explored a little bit more in terms of the way we deliver, who it goes to, where it goes. It's a work in progress. I think we'd all acknowledge that we can probably get a bit more efficient and a little less Charlie dependent. But again, we're working on that daily. So it's been a big workload for him, but he's been up to it every week. He just seems to be able to wrestle his way through and supply us exactly what we need. And I think for his 150th, I thought he attacked the game perfectly.
And Mitch and Ryan as well, making some good strides.
Yeah, I think our squad is in good shape. Yeah, with Mitch and Ryan and now Tom, which will only be a 1-week injury. I think we're in really good shape in terms of how many we'll have to pick from and how healthy we are and what sort of training squad we can get together through this final series, which will be just as important.
Are there any chance of a Mitch and Ryan this weekend?
Not that I know of, no.
During the finals, how are you going to work the players that don't make the play? What's the plan there?
Again, it's another challenge that we've had all year, to be honest. As I mentioned before, that four games that we've been able to put together over the last month has been huge. But that challenge will get even greater now that there'll be less teams to partner up with. And so our match sim, we are hearing some noise about training being allowed to return to normal contact going through the finals. Now, that's at the moment, that's only sort of a rumour and a whisper, but it does give us some hope that through that period we'll be able to train at a level that'll keep guys ticking over rather than having to make it up and sort of fingers crossed when we roll them out. So the games that we organise will be less important and training will become even more important.
Is that from the AFL, Monty?
Yeah. Now, I don't think anything's been confirmed, but there are, as I said, there is word out there that they'd like to see training come back to some sort of normality.
So what difference does that make? We've heard guys say, especially across the road, that it's hard to train and implement a game plan and get guys used to things. Obviously, you guys are in a different boat, but how would that affect or enhance the way you prepare for it?
Yeah, look, we are in a different boat, but in terms of being able to tinker and change and even challenge guys at training, it's really difficult to put them to try and get any sort of outcomes or results when there's no game-like pressure, and that pressure has sort of been off the table for quite some time. So, I've really felt for the players that are looking to improve parts of their game that involve contest. Match intensity, a little bit more game-like running, all those types of things we'll be able to tap back into.
So that just goes back to what it would normally be on any given week?
Yeah, not that anyone would be looking to do any huge quantities of training, but the work that we do will start to resemble a little bit more game-like.
Is there a sense of, in your position, you've locked in a top two spot. The one coming up this week, obviously, you still got to tick off, but is there just a sense of anticipation and wanting to almost start the finals now rather than just go through? Oh,
look, I'm sure there's a little bit of that, but I think, again, we're fortunate to play another really good side this week at the grand final venue. So I don't think we want to be taking our eyes off that game. They'll be up. I'm sure they've got some points to prove, and we've been looking for consistency all the way through. We didn't think, and you've probably heard, we thought we played pretty well on the weekend. I think prior to that, we thought we were a little bit off and still building, so we'll be using this game for form. I know with spots being tight, the players will be pushing pretty hard to make sure they cement that spot.
Has Ebo done enough, do you think? He was obviously out and then brought back last week. Has he done enough to warrant a spot for the finals?
I think so. But again, he's part of that squad, and our squad's strong at the moment. He got that opportunity. He was fortunate to get that opportunity again, and I don't think he did too much wrong in what was a pretty dominant performance.
With Tom Cleary out, who gets the job on Jordan De Goey?
Just talking about that, so there's a fair bit to go into that prior to being able to stamp whoever that is that'll get that responsibility. He looked great last night, looked fresh, looked sharp. Certainly a lot of ball was channelled through there. So, it'd be a big challenge for whoever gets it. Don't know just yet.
Conditions-wise, did you see last night? The players looked like they were sort of slipping around a little bit?
Yeah. I think what you'll find is we'll probably experiment with some wet weather out here in one of our sessions this week, because whilst that was probably a fine night, it looked like it had 3 inches of rain. So, look, I don't think we should expect any different for the next month. That's just the way conditions are up there. So we've seen quite a bit of that. We've been up, as you know. We've played quite a few games in those types of, whether it be dewy or humid conditions. So, we need to expect something very, very similar.
So this conceivably could be the last time until maybe, probably not unless you lose a final. This is a chance to play at the grand final venue ahead of the actual big dance if you get there, because you'll be at the Adelaide Open.
Yeah, we will.
Will that provide you a great opportunity, a good experience to feel like what it could be like? Yeah,
all of that. But we're not looking too far ahead. This is a big game. We know we've got a great month ahead of us. We know that we've got a good squad. We know that we're in good form. But this is just another big game.
Is Jared Leonard a likely replacement for Tom?
He's certainly one of those. As I mentioned before, we've got Bergman, who we'd like to have a look at in a similar role. Joel Garner's in good form. Jack Watts is, again, building, out of what's been a pretty challenging year. So we've got a couple of training sessions this week with the longer break, so challenge will be up.
Is Jack Watts a realistic chance to potentially play this year?
I think he's a chance, yeah. So he's just another one that's in that bracket of players that's trying to build through this period. So we certainly haven't put in a line through anyone.
Being top all year, do you care at all that the outside world doesn't rate Port as a premiership favourite?
Oh, not really. I think when I hear that stuff, it's more about the credits that the teams that they do rate have built up over time, rather than what they think that we are or aren't. That's my take on it. I think Richmond have deserved all the honours and all the credibility they've got, and I think West Coast are the same, and and so on and so on. So yeah, I don't think, I certainly haven't heard anything different to that internally.
Internally, though, the beliefs there?
Oh, absolutely. What you guys could probably tell me, 25, 26 weeks at the tops is a pretty good effort. We had a great pre-season. I don't think we necessarily put a foot wrong through that period either. We haven't been at our absolute top form all the way through that 26 weeks, but we've done enough to win every week, which is a huge improvement on last year and the year before.
Monty, another really strong game from Ollie and Tom Rockcliffe. How important is it for that midfield group to seem like they're finding their form at the right time? Yeah,
those guys have been good. I think what you have seen is that group's got deeper. We've grown it out a bit. There's been more exposure to others, and with that comes the challenge of connection and synergy. And I think, again, whilst those two guys have been good, I think the guys that have supported them have also been able to come up to standard. So yeah, we're a bit more of a threat in there when we've got numbers going through there and guys that are in good form. So been well led, no doubt about it, but yeah, good form.
Monty, do you, as a couple of the assistants, have any clarity on next year? Obviously you guys will be sort of locked in, but with reductions to soft caps and coaching departments,
no, not really.
You guys will stick together?
Fair to say, I mean, we'd be hopeful. I'm not sure. I wouldn't have any more confirmation than that other than hope. We believe we're doing a pretty good job. We've got friends in other clubs around the industry where you hear the stories and the heartache of guys being let go. So yeah, it's a difficult time, but yeah, no confirmation.